Welcome, everyone, to Trekking Across the Universe. It is the 21st of February in 2026, and we're here to talk about the newest episode of Starfleet Academy. Yeah. hmm I'm just going to start. I was not impressed with this at all. It was interesting to me, but it didn't grab me. I mean, I really didn't want to see it a second time. That was kind of bad. So anybody else want to give their overall thoughts, and then we'll see if we even want to go on. So,
I mean, I would say yeah, it was a bit of a nothing burger episode for me. I was sort of had it on in the background while I was doing something else, so it was like background TV. It was a very chill episode. There wasn't high stakes. I don't want to say it was like family after the best of both worlds, but it had that kind of vibe that after last week's sort of big, momentous death and things like that, this was sort of the chill episode. But
mm,
it didn't really touch on the loss or the grief or the what happened in that previous episode. It sort of formed its own thing. So yeah, it was background TV. It was inoffensive.
Greg.
I thought it was boring. I liked the space slug. I liked seeing close-ups of the buildups of the AMT model kits. I thought that was cool. But other than Caleb and Genesis, goofing off and having fun, it was like as soon as everything else was boring around that. There was so much potential to just have the two of them goofing around and having fun. But we hadn't gotten a Durham story. We hadn't, had his one off yet. But yeah, it was like the calm after the big one. So I mean, if last week was their climax episode, that was kind of this is starting to get to be a little bit of a letdown. Um, I just for 10 episodes, and I said this last season of Strange New Worlds too. For 10 episodes of something they're calling Star Trek, I need more Star Trek.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's. I agree. I agree with everybody. Um, what was your? So you're saying basically you enjoyed the Caleb Genesis storyline the best.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. And Jack was over for Thursday night. So, I mean, my 10-year-old grandson watched it with us. And, he liked that part of it too. And, but he also, likes those type of CW shows and, teenagers doing teenager things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I honestly, I just don't have much to say about it. I mean, it just didn't grab me at all. But anybody else have anything else that they want to bring up?
I found that like the Genesis arc thing about her dad being an admiral and how she had to change the her report or something her admission papers so it was more positive than what it was, and even Darren's story about him having to be married, and it was kind of like a weak version of like tropes that we'd seen before, especially like the Darren's one just felt like Spock's Strange New World thing about him being engaged, and it's to the point where for me watching it, even the AR wall set where it's like in the round and there's like a round sort of ceremony and there's the AR wall behind it, that just felt like the Spock thing that we'd seen in season one or season two of Strange New Worlds, and even maybe a mock time. But that same setup, I understand, doing something like this is this show's version of that. But if you don't bring something new to it and something different to it, it just feels like someone else did it better before. And sort of the same with Genesis thing about the Admiral's daughter. We've we've heard that story before. and it didn't bring us anything new, and it didn't really explore, her relationship with her dad. Didn't explore his relationship with his parents that we heard about.
No, they weren't even in it. Maybe there were two of the people standing there, but we never.
I think there were two of the
Yeah.
people standing
Yeah.
there, but they didn't really clue us in who it was. I mean, yeah, I think they were standing there, but yeah.
I read
It's
in
like-
another thing that they were actually credited in the credits or something as his parents. So the fact that they had, even though they didn't have a speaking role, they were credited at the end or something. That's maybe they cut a bit.
That's what I was going to say.
Parents.
Maybe they cut some stuff,
Yeah.
and which makes no sense if it made sense to the plot to put it in. As I think Greg said once, they're not on a time frame anymore on network TV. They're streaming. They can go longer if they need to, but
especially when like episode 1, I'm pretty sure was an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. So it is possible to make it longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think, they make such a big deal about his circumstances, that he's this prince and he has a big responsibility and whatever in the first episode, and then to actually enact this thing where he has to give up his place and whatever, it didn't seem like there were any stakes to it. He just had to accept it, and his wife in the end is the one that lets him go. So yeah, it felt like there were things missing.
Yeah, a lot of things missing. I mean, this is like with Jaden's story, and it's like, we just didn't get his story, other than he wanted to be a doctor and buck against Klingon nature. But it's like, there were so many other things they could have done and didn't do. They could have had Jaden come out in on the aquatic planet, but maybe they figured they couldn't do that, and it wouldn't have given the costumers a chance to go very avant-garde. The girls look great, guys not so much.
Yeah. The other thing I thought, I was wondering, I couldn't figure out, well, at least to me, mates, because I only looked at it once. Were both sides of the family royalty?
No,
I felt like it was just her.
Her family was royalty. But I mean, you get the impression that Darum's family is well-to-do, of import. Because I mean, right in the beginning, he's pretty snotty, and he's like everybody's least favorite rich kid in the first episode.
Yeah, true. But I mean, that was a little, I mean, the whole thing was weird. I mean, and then, I mean, they kind of had said that not many people knew about his planet and all this and their customs, and then Jerem knew exactly what to do, being whatever he had to be for. No, I see. I'm forgetting names. But to be in the wedding party, that he knew exactly what he was supposed to do, and it was like, but I thought they really didn't know. I mean, they didn't show they just didn't go to give us details or go into depth. It was just like glossing over stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the timeline was weird too, because supposedly the break was supposed to be 4 days, and for Darum's story, it's like, oh, the big party's tomorrow on Kionia, but then they go into all this stuff. Jaden then has time to learn how to play his role, and it's like, okay, so was it 1 day? And it's like, he talks about how he's afraid of speaking in front of people. And then he goes and he gives this, huge speech.
Oh, yeah.
To the fiance, and I don't know. There was a lot of inconsistencies, and don't get me started on why Jet Reno is the only officer on a starship when it's quote unquote locked down. If it's locked down, nobody's on it.
Yeah.
Unless he was, but they were able to get into the bridge, so it's not like they were just in, the living quarters, which I assume is that ring.
I must admit, I actually thought that there was going to be some kind of like sex romp subplot between Jet and Laura, and they were both there, and they were like, running from room to room in this school, and Genesis and Caleb would have to avoid them through the episode. That is how the setup felt to me at the start. So I was very sad that
Yeah,
the biggest thing we got was about how she stubbed her toe or something. So yeah.
and you could barely. Oh, hey, goody! I could barely hear Laura over the comm link. But I mean, those, I would have thought she would have been checking in on him more. I thought, there'd be more surprise that Genesis was there. Um, you know, I it could have been such a fun story, and then just 10, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the serious about Genesis and her reference letters.
Yep. Yep. It would have made
Um,
sense if like you were saying before, Greg, about it being fun, and it would have been good if Caleb was feeling guilty about the fact that the Vulcan character in the episode before stood in front of him, saved his life, and died, and he was coming to grips with death or experiencing someone self-sacrificing for him, and Genesis is trying to take his mind off the whole thing, and they have like a fun episode, and then at the end there's the heart-to-heart part, and we find out more about her circumstances. I feel like that would have been a more useful, like if these characters were actually dealing with death or loss or grief or something.
yes.
But they're
Yeah.
not. I mean, they only mentioned it in passing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, on the rewatch, I mean, there was a lot of dialogue about the situation between Caleb and Tarima, but it he seemed more annoyed. I don't know. It was because it started with him, recording the letter and deleting it, and ended with him recording the letter and sending it. It was just there could have been more about that. If
Yeah,
they wanted to go serious and around the story, but I don't know. It's like they tried to do too much. It wasn't a consistent tone throughout the episode. Everything about Darum and Jaden and Darum's fiance was just seemed like a non-story.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they could have, kept the wedding, and she could have agreed to let him come back to Starfleet or something. Come back and finish his academy thing. And then there'd be a big thing about, oh, Darum's now the prince consort or the king consort, and you know there could have been something cool about Kionia in a later episode.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, essentially it just unwrote what we just watched, which is
Yeah,
like, why did we watch it then?
exactly. So, and I did see a rumor that it's canceled, but I don't know if that's just people being idiots
I
or
thought
whatever.
they were already filming season 2. I don't remember.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
maybe
pretty sure
they're just doing the
they've
two
already
seasons
filmed it.
then.
Yeah. I imagine with the circumstances around Paramount at the moment, it probably won't go to another season, but I think that's probably purely because of the politics of it, not because it's bad or good, I would say.
But
I
oh my
think it's
God, you can watch all the Ultimate Fighting Championship stuff you want.
Well, yeah, absolutely, Greg. Yeah, but that's the way it
Wait,
is.
no, I won't say it.
Well, think about Sci-Fi. The Sci-Fi Channel did the same thing.
Yeah, they went, the pro wrestling. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so they put up cameras, the ticket sellers basically pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's a cheap production. It's like reality shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're cheaper to put on, so that's the thing. But
I
well,
actually
Zig,
remember reading, I think, about reality shows and the rise of reality shows in the 90s was because of uh, an Actors Guild dispute or something, and they worked out that
there was a strike too.
yeah, and the
So,
way to do programming was that they could get around by doing reality TV, and that's how it came
yeah.
about. So it purely was the financial thing. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that that's the same direction.
Yeah. It sadly makes sense in that respect. So are we sadly kind of finished with this episode?
Yeah, we should probably mention that the name of the episode was Cosine. It
I
was written
guess.
by Alex Taub,
Thank you very much.
Eric Anthony Glover, and of course, Gene Roddenberry's credited as the creator of the universe. And its runtime is noted as 55 minutes, but we probably only had about 12 minutes of good story.
You think that much? Yeah, maybe that's right. Yeah, I could.
Toxic or non-toxic, that was the best segment on the show, including chasing the space slug, into the first aid station and having to freeze the slime, and even though we couldn't hear really what Laura was saying because it sounded like Laura and Jet were talking over each other. But I agree with Aaron. I think it would have been more fun and probably could still keep the teenage appeal. If there was a little bit more tension between Genesis and Caleb, and at the same time you had Laura and Jet moments, because we haven't had enough of those. And I'm serious, we have not had enough of Laura and Jet. I mean, I just think we haven't had enough of Gina, because I mean, she's fantastic.
It kind of
The
sucks
moment
that
with Sam in the beginning was kind of good. I did make a note of that. When she's glitching, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm going to a spa," and it's like, I feel that character shouldn't get all the hate she gets, because I adore her. She's so cute, and she's, it's like, another Tilly character.
I think it's sad that they already started filming season 2 before this show went to air, because I feel like the response to like Laura's character and Sam, that could have informed the writing of series 2 and what people want to see and things like that. Whereas because it's filmed ahead of time, especially like Strange New Worlds, you don't really get that sort of direct engagement as to this is a type of.
Yeah, and I almost don't think they care, because I mean there was a lot of critical feedback on Discovery, and that went 5 years, and their answer to it was pushing them off another century so they could throw canon out the window. Because I mean that was the biggest criticism of Discovery, was for the time frame it was taking place. At least the biggest criticism I saw.
Yeah.
I know there are others, but
it was breaking canon, so yeah, and they solved that. So
yeah, okay, let's go to the 30-something century, and oh, by the way, the physical parts of the ship no longer have to touch each other.
there you go. So if there's a glitch in the Matrix, they don't care, right?
I think they even had an episode in Discovery of them going into one of them cells after the refit, and I'm like, how?
Yeah. Well, they refit, right? So there you go.
Yeah.
So do you want to do thumbs up, thumbs down, or are we done?
Yeah.
Or do we need
Yeah.
to say anything more?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one a down.
Me too. Yeah. Unfortunately. But it just was not, as I said, I didn't even want to look at it a second time. So
Yeah.
I
mean,
debated, and I said, oh, I really need to watch it again. I said, no, I don't. So.
Yep. The self-contained story with the kids being on the ship alone, I think that would have made a great short trek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Which they should bring back. I mean, even
Yes,
through the
I
Discovery
agree.
years, those were some of the best stories.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know. But so supposedly I heard and saw, I haven't seen the clip yet, but they said Tilly is going to be back in this show.
Oh yes, I saw the clip yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I haven't seen the clip for next week yet.
Yeah. So
I think it's just like a sort of, it's a full season trailer, so it's got bits of stuff we've already seen before, but she's in it a few times. So yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
she'll
remember they had a different person listed on IMDb as number 1, and they had Laura's character. So
yeah. So who knows? Sometimes they try to put out false information so the fans don't know what's going on. So I have noticed that before. So
yeah. Well, also, I mean, there's a lot of websites out there that see discontent.
Yep.
They want people to engage because that's what seems to get the most
clicks.
Yes, because everybody has to be outraged about everything.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So next week is episode 8.
Episode 8.
So that means there's 3 left in the season.
Yep.
I'm hoping we don't get another one like this. That's all.
Do we have a title for it yet? The Life of the Stars.
Oh. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Oh, the other thing I want to do, I'm going to go back and see if there's a fur fly problem in every episode, because I caught another one in this one, and that I thought was funny.
Yeah, I think they must be in every episode. I think you're right.
Yeah, right now, just Holly Hunter, Stephen Colbert, and Britt Marling, who does the voice of the computer, are the only cast members listed for next week.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to see what's going to happen.
Yes.
Yep.
However, Monday night, Michael and I will be back to discuss the final episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms,
which I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
I'll tell you, I enjoyed when they started it early that one week because of the Super Bowl, because I got more time to think about it. But oh well. But so we'll get to see it tomorrow night late, and then we can do that. But I'm looking forward to that. So it's like, well, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? But on that note, do you have any other things to bring up, anybody? Or
oh, I do. Episode 4 of 10 Forward Test Kitchen is out. It is on Gach, and please watch it and share and subscribe.
There you go. Greg, anything?
No, nothing in the pipeline. Still just trying to make it through winter.
Yeah.
Catch up on models and
all that good stuff.
I did finally shave the scruff and really trimmed it and didn't just put it in an elastic this week.
Well, there you go. That's a
Got
big
rid of the
moment.
clown eyebrows. So
there you go. Well,
I can go back undercover.
Well, yeah, you can do that. Well, the only thing I've got is I'm not even allowed to talk much about it, but Talented Universe is going to be going to WonderCon in Anaheim
that's fun.
at the end of March, and we're going to be hosting a panel on vertical drama. So we are very excited about that.
Yeah, that's
exciting.
Awesome.
It is exciting. I'm excited about it.
And that's in Anaheim, the last weekend in March?
Yeah, 27th through the 29th of March. So we'll have more on our webpage about it, and we'll talk about it more probably at the end of the coming week. So, but we're very excited. We're going to have some cool former guests from our show on the panel. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you for everyone coming and watching us. We will see you hopefully Monday if you're into A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and that'd be Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and all the other shows on the NDB Media Network, ndbmedia.net. Please go there to watch all of them, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.